Hello. Welcome to the first in a set of 3 videos I'm making on the origin and evolution of myself as a hobbyist in pipes. That'll be the first video. Someone who enjoys coffee, that's the second video. And my origin and evolution of the literature that I tend to enjoy. So this is the pipes one. This is the first one. And I'm going to talk about both pipes and tobacco. So this is relatively recent. I have some faint memory of maybe having a corncob pipe or something in college. That's 25 years ago. I don't know. I remember doing some crazy things like cloves and menthol cigarettes that didn't stick, thankfully. But I think but at any rate, that doesn't count because I didn't stick with it after then. Fast forward to 2018, 2019, about 5 years ago, actually, I had a pipe that I had purchased in the meantime there. I think I had some cherry tobacco that I got at the tobacconist, or really at the tobacconist at the smoke shop, right? Which most of the smoke shops that you can get some of these at, they their primary market is vapors, not vapors like Virginia Freaks, but like people who vape. And really what I go to now most of the time are places that are primarily cigar related, that has a nice selection of pipes on the side. So that's where I am right now as far as shops go. But I had a friend who for one reason or another started smoking a pipe just periodically, and I got a pipe, and we smoked a couple together. And oddly enough, the smoking of the pipe was nice, but what I fell in love with was the actual pipe itself. I fell in love with a little piece of art, a little piece of wood, right? I've always had a love for things carved out of wood or anything made by your hands that had a tie to some kind of natural resource. So I really fell in love with the pipe. And like I said before, I think if I didn't smoke a pipe, I would still collect pipes. And now that I know even more about what goes into the process of selecting the briar, what goes into the process of carving the pipe, what makes a good pipe, all of those things just make it so much cooler to collect. And I do have quite a collection. There is people who've gotten into the pipe hobby. They have a pipe acquisition syndrome. and I don't really understand. My son's doing the same thing right now with shoes, right? I think he's got 20 pairs of shoes, and he picks them up on eBay and things like that when he gets money for his allowance. And I get it, right? I mean, I get the whole collector thing. And this just scratched a collector itch for me. It did a lot, right? Because one, I'm a very nostalgic person. Not nostalgic to the point of like cultural nostalgia, right? I don't want us to go back to the way we used to deal with each other in the pre-civil rights, right? That's crazy town. But I do have this like very strong nostalgia for things that are old, things that have a story. And for that reason, the majority of the pipes that I buy now, the majority of the pipes that I've bought over the last few years are estate pipes. They're a pipe that's had a life and a story before they came to me. And one, it's nice to do that because oftentimes they're a little cheaper. And oftentimes they come to me worn, right? They come to me with some care needed. And I've set up I have a whole workshop that's set up at this point where I can refurbish these pipes and bring them back close to new. That's fun for me, right? So it's all these little pieces. But we're here to talk about origins and evolution. So my origin was somewhere around 2018, 2019. Smoked a few bowls with my buddy. Fell in love with the pipe itself, and then I just started picking up pipes here and there. Welcome back. This was a quick wardrobe change, right? I learned something very important about shooting YouTube videos. Actually, two things. First, make sure to check the battery before you start filming. And two is always film in order, because I've had part 2 and 3 of this trilogy filmed for like a week and hadn't been able to get back to finishing up the pipe. So when we last spoke, just a few seconds ago, I was about to go into my pipe journey as far as what I like about pipes, what pipes I started with, and where I am right now. So that's really where we're going to go at this point. I have a few collections, and I think I'm going to talk about collections specifically later. But right now, as I said before, I really started getting into pipes relatively heavily about 2019. So this is my 5 year. I'm at the 5 year mark. So I don't know if I'm still a newbie or if I'm a journeyman or whatever you might want to call me. But I have a habit of finding things that I don't know much about every once in a while and just going all in and gathering all the information I can. It's really served me well in academia. Sometimes it seems a little fanatic, but it is my method of gathering and gathering some level of expertise on something, right? So I feel like my 5 years as a pipe enthusiast, I really packed a lot into it. And I have way more pipes than I should. But early on, my first pipe I don't even have out here because it was not a very good pipe. I ordered it from I ordered it online. It came from came from a place where quality is not necessarily the first consideration, and it's not a very good quality pipe. The stem was pretty plasticky. There was a horrible draw. I got it because it had a longer stem, and like a lot of people do, I thought, hey, this is a church warden or something church warden like is really cool. I currently don't really own a real church warden. Not because I don't think they're cool. I've almost bought one a number of times. It's just I tend now to pick up pipes that speak to me or that fit in my collection rather than just trying to pick up a kind of pipe. Okay, so this was the first real pipe I ever bought. This is a Stanwell bent egg. I bought it because it looked like a pipe. It looked like what I thought a pipe would look like. I kept it and I keep it. One, it's still a quality pipe, right? Stanwell's a quality pipe. This one does have something I tend to stay away from. This takes a filter. I don't hate filters. I don't use filters, mainly because this type of filter, not the type that we find in a Savinelli or even in the Canadian pipes that have the rock filter. What are those called? The rock maple. Anyway, some of those filters where the air passes through and it's dried by accumulating on wood or being drawn into wood, that doesn't bother me as much. But the ones where it actually has to go through a filter, about 3/4 of the way through the bowl, I start tasting the filter, and it's not enjoyable to me. So I took the filter out of this. This one is one that I smoke aromatics in the car with because I have a few pipes that are of good quality that I'll smoke aromatics in, but aromatics often ghost pipes. And I started this one with that cherry blend, and I just kind of kept going. It's nice to have some nice pipes in the different types of tobacco you smoke. Then I moved on. I finally decided I was going to spend a little bit of money on a pipe, and I purchased this one. This was my first Peterson's pipe. It's a 80S, and it's a gorgeous pipe. It's a great pipe. With most of the Petersons, it really doesn't pass a pipe cleaner as well as I would like it to, but it's just a great shape, so I was happy with that one. Then I was at this crossroad, right? Because I thought that Danish pipes, Danish freehand, Danish kind of this wild, I say wild, this broad, open, artistic expression of pipes was something that was really going to grab me, because I find myself, I think I'm artistic, right? So looking at pipes that were started by Iverson, and a lot of the other pipes that are found in from Denmark, they interested me at first, but then that little bit of nostalgia broke in, right? Because I don't remember seeing people smoking those pipes that were great writers, or I don't see these pipes showing up on estates as something that was like used and embraced by people in the in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I found out I really like classic English shapes, and along with the love of the classic English shape, my kind of offbeat interests are Italian pipes that take the classic English shapes and just do something different with it, right? So those are the two places I'm going at this point. Now, I also buy a few pipes here and there because I hear they have either really good smoking qualities, or they have some other interesting tidbit associated with them, right? So these are all works of art for me. Now, also, I don't have a crazy amount of artisan pipes. This is one of the exceptions. This is one of my favorite pipes. This is by Mark Dominguez, and it is one of probably the best smoking pipe that I own. Okay, and this was made by a man's hands that I've met and spoken to, right? So this is special. But when it comes to collecting, I look for the pipes that were commonly found in places where you would go to buy a pipe, either to work outside in, a fancy pipe to go to the party with, all those things that we would have seen in the anywhere from the 20s to the 70s, 80s, when people really slacked off on purchasing pipes. So I moved on to classic English shapes, and some of my favorite my very favorite shape, because of its use, because it's a very utilitarian pipe, is the pot. And we'll talk a little bit about my tobacco interest, but the pot fits into that too. A pot has a little bit of a shorter body, a shorter stack, and a longer stem. But what it does is it has a lot of surface area here, and if you like English tobaccos, you can load this thing up. You get a lot of surface area, you get a lot of even burn, and this thing is just a machine for burning tobacco. And I think it looks nice. It's a good size. I love most of my pipes that I use regularly have a saddle bit, and this one is actually a part of one of my major collections, is the Everyman and Guildhall pipe series from Camoys. So you can see here, this one's known, it has the 3 lines here. I probably have about 40 different pipes. I'm trying to pick up as many of the pipes in the Camoy shape chart that's either Guildhall or Everyman. Great little pipes, beautiful little pipes. This one is one of my favorites. And here's 2 that are the same shape, right? This one was probably made in the 70s. This one was probably made in the 30s, right? And then they translate over into, here is a Dunhill saddle bit pot, gorgeous pipe. I've only recently gotten to where I would purchase something like this, right? But again, this thing burns tobacco. It's a machine for burning tobacco. I also have a few, and I do this. Those I usually smoke English tobaccos in there. That's relatively complex. You know, here's another pipe that I would do that with, and I have other pipes that I'll smoke Virginias with. One of those is a billiard, and this is a part of another collection I have of Comoys with 3-piece seats. This one's probably from the 1940s, judging by some of the other nomenclature. But gorgeous pipe. As you notice, this is a billiard, right? This is a very classic design in my, this is the 182. In my opinion, this is probably the nicest billiard shape that you're gonna find. I'm sure there's Dunhill enthusiasts that would probably slap me in the face for saying that, but Comoys made a damn fine billiard. But I'll smoke Virginias in this because it has a deeper, narrower chamber, and you get a little bit cooler or a slower burn because the amount of oxygen able to get down in there for that depth is lower than the amount of oxygen you would get to something like this for that depth, right? So I have a lot of classic English shapes, but some of those that may be somewhat of an oddball, right, would be, you know, if we look at this is a little Chacombe pipe that I also like to smoke Virginia-based tobaccos in, because it really changes the flavor or accentuates the flavor of the tobacco, because it's a reverse calabash and it has a second chamber back here that allows for the moisture to condense because the air slows down in that area, right? So there's some physics associated with it. This really doesn't fit. Maybe because I like ring grain sandblasts, maybe this fits something, but really this is just a nice pipe I picked up on St. Patrick's Day because it's green, and I really like it. These are the way I make decisions, right? One, does it fit one of the collections I already have? Is it something I'm missing? Two, is it something different that may not fit a collection but would be fun to try? Or three, is it something kind of cool that somebody would like that I could clean up and potentially find a new home for? So, and I do, like I said, I have a workshop out in the garage that I use to refurbish pipes. I think only probably 3 of these have been bought new. This is one of those. This is a Sir Jacopo, an Italian pipe that is a take on a Dublin, right? So it looks like a classic English shape, but it does have a square shank, and it just has some stylings that are different than what you would see in a classic English bent Dublin. Also, as much as God, I think I have 6 of these Comoys pots. What is it? 450 something. The number is, my eyes are horrible, so it's a Comoys pot. But the other one I have a lot of are these Savinelli 614s, and the reason being, I like to read, right? We've discussed that already. One of the things I like to do is when I'm reading, I have my book, I have my coffee, and sometimes you have to tamp, right? Well, I will actually rest this on my chest right here and tamp it while I'm reading my book. This seems lazy or whatever. It seems like it's awkward, but this is the best read, and it keeps the pipe out of my field of view. All of that craziness to tell you, I am on a constant search for a cool pipe. There's certain things I look for. They're very different than the things I looked for when I first started collecting pipes. But it is like a treasure hunt. And if I find a pipe on eBay or at an antique shop, I really get excited because that means I get to bring some life to it. So while I do buy new pipes periodically, most of my pipe purchases are estate. That's not how it was early in my pipe smoking journey, but that's where I am now because I'm a collector. I'm a collector probably even before I'm a pipe smoker. I'll go days without smoking a pipe, but I will pick one up and handle it and look at it. I spend time looking at my pipe collection, probably a few minutes a day, because it kind of calms me, right? It seems odd, but it's a calming thing. So that's my evolution as a pipe enthusiast and pipe collector. Tobacco is interesting. I started, like a lot of people started, with a very simple aromatic that I thought I liked because it smelled nice. Because most of my memories of pipes, whenever I encountered somebody out in the wild, right, was the smell of the pipe tobacco. And most of the time that smell was an aromatic, or it was a codger blend that had some kind of aromatic tone. It had a nice room note. So that's what I started with, and I started getting tongue bite. I didn't enjoy it. It didn't taste like it smelled. Now, with that said, there are aromatics I still smoke, and quite honestly, because I only smoke aromatics in my vehicle, so my vehicle doesn't smell like pipe smoke, or like pipe smoke you wouldn't consider to be nice. I probably end up smoking more aromatics than anything else, although that's not what I reach for whenever I have some time here at the house on the patio, or if I'm taking something up to the cigar shop to smoke. So I started with aromatics. Some of them stuck around, but I moved on pretty early to English-based tobaccos. And when I say English, I'm using it as something that's got a heavy Latakia component, so that smoky, barbecuey smell, because that appealed to me, right? I had the nostalgia of the wood, I had the artisan pipes, and then I got this nice blend that smells smoky. It kind of takes me back to the campfires when we'd go out camping and spending time with my grandfather and my dad out in the woods. That it brought me back to that. So that's been the primary type of tobacco that I've smoked for the last 5 years. It has since kind of honed a little bit more. So I mentioned Virginias earlier. Virginias are something that's always there. I always keep Virginias. I always keep Orlik Golden Slice because that's probably one of my go-to Virginias. They stick around because for some reason when I go fishing or when I'm working out in the garage, when I'm outside, I get a feel where hey, I really would like to have a Virginia blend. And Orlik Golden Slice is usually my go-to, but I keep a lot, right? I have a lot of pipe tobaccos cellared. A lot of them I may not smoke. A lot of them I may not ever smoke. But if I ever have somebody who's interested in some, I'll give them an ounce or so to try. It's nice to have. And who knows? My tastes have changed over these 5 years. Who knows how my tastes are going to change moving even further, right? So what I ended up realizing, though, is most things that are burley based I'm not a big fan of. If you love burley, you love burley. That's cool, man. But I find even the aromatics that are a Virginia Cavendish or Virginia base, I like much more than the aromatics that are a burley base, because I have very negative memories of cigarette smoke, and the burleys have oftentimes a hint of that cigarette smell and taste to me. So I tend to stay away from burleys, although again, here I am being a bit of a hypocrite. I keep like some 8-State burley, or I even keep a couple codger blends around, because one day I have had days where I'm like, you know what, I really feel like I want to smoke some burley, and I do. So I guess saying that I don't like something or that I like something, it's the frequency in which I think about it, the frequency in which I go to it. And quite honestly, I go to Burley least than anything else. But recently I found that the elements of the English blends that I like is what we would call in the pipe enthusiast community is Orientals and Turkish tobaccos, and those are called such because they were historically grown in the areas that was part of the Ottoman Empire. So it was a reference to a site. I'm still weird sometimes about calling something Orientals just because of the connotations associated with it. But that is the official title of that group of tobacco. And I found that those which give me this really nice sourdough flavor, those are the ones that I really like. So what I found is a few blends that are very, very much Oriental forward and a little more muted with the Latakia. One's Rattray's Red Rapparee is one of my favorite tobaccos. I've tried some of Dunhill's Aperitif, which isn't made anymore, and it's great. And there's Cornell and Diehl even makes one right now, which I've bought in bulk. I keep as one of my go-tos. That's called Cordial, and I had crazy memories of too much cherry tobacco, and I didn't get Cordial for so long, and then I picked it up, and now I have probably a couple pounds of it stored away, and it's the tobacco that I carry around with me. So long story short, I started a long time ago, probably had a pipe early in my life when I was experimenting with things, but that's long gone and I don't remember it. 2018, started having a pipe with a friend of mine. 2019, actually purchased a decent pipe. Still was smoking aromatics, but moved on to try some English blends that I really fell in love with. That tended to be the core of the tobacco that I used. And if I'm smoking an English blend again, like I said, I love these pots. I love some of these, anything with a large chamber is something I'm going to go for with my, with a broad chamber. It doesn't necessarily have to be very deep, is what I go for primarily. But if I am in one of those wild hair moods, I'll pick up a billiard and fill it with some Ornate Golden Slice, and that's my Virginia fix. Very, very, very seldom hit some Burley. I have, this is great. I have an actual physiological aversion to Perique, and this pains me, right? This pains me because my family is from Louisiana. It seems like, it's the way that the Native Americans process their tobacco in southern Louisiana. A lot of them that I'm probably related to. And it seems just perfect. And if I smoke anything with over 10% Perique, my head starts swimming. I'll start sweating. I get nauseous. And it's not necessarily the nicotine, because there's other heavy nicotine tobaccos. It's something about the Perique, and I don't know. I'm a biologist. I should understand more about that, but for some reason, I'm just kind of leaving that as, hey, Perique makes me feel funky. But that's where I am there. So usually vapors. I do like a Scudo. I don't have too much of it, but it's good. I have a very broad palate, but I tend to like a few things more than other things. Right now, it's really sourdough, heavy Oriental stuff, and that, what I like about that is I can have that in the winter, in the summer, fall. I tend to smoke primarily Virginias in the summertime when it's hot. That's usually what goes into my corncob pipes as well. So there you go. It's all over the place. I'm sorry. I chose to do pipes last because I knew it would take more time. And thank you for sticking with me for this one's going to be over 30 minutes. So your attention span's gone at this point. But this was the first of the trilogy of origin and evolution stories. I hope you enjoyed this video. Coffee's coming up next. Literature will be the last one. And I just have a little bit of processing to do, and these will be up and running. So I look forward to seeing you next time. And I look forward to having more conversations about pipes. I feel like this one's all over the place. Probably not my best conversation, but I'm going to hone down on a few of my collections, and we'll talk about those individually. And I think those will be much more informative. You know a little bit more about me then. And I hope you have a great week.